going to be home hunting in 2025, it's important that you don't get carried away because you can make some serious home purchasing mistakes. If you purchase the wrong home here in Florida, it could cost you financially, it could cost you your health, your well-being.
I bought this house from you. It had doors, stairs, and a swimming pool. Now where's the shit now?
In this video, we're going to talk about homes that you should never buy. Homes that I would never buy. The type of home I would never purchase is a lipstick on a pig type of home. The seller is trying to give you the illusion of having done really nice quality renovations inside of the house. It just tours nicely, but then after further examination, you're realizing that the quartz countertop was actually put on old cabinet. Perhaps the flooring has been redone with very cheap laminate flooring. So that eventually is probably going to buckle and you're going to have to get that redone. In some cases, the roof, windows, sliders, plumbing, electric panel, electric cabling is still old, and that all costs money to upgrade afterwards, and it could cost a lot of money. So make sure that you account for this in your budget and make sure that it still makes financial sense to purchase the home. Don't buy a lipstick on a pig type of home unless you know what you're getting yourself into. Considering a property that is in a proposed major development site could be a huge risk because you just don't know what that neighborhood is going to feel like and what the next few months or years are going to bring you in terms of construction, noise level, and then ultimately traffic. So you're going to want to make sure that wherever you're purchasing into, that there's nothing proposed around you that could alter the neighborhood. Where do you get this information from? Well, you could ask your local real estate agent. They should be aware of all major developments happening, but also you can go to the county website, to the zoning department, and they can help you understand what types of projects the county, the city is working on. Propose, say it's a mall or perhaps a commercial center. I would probably stay away from that. Condos can be a great way to get into a certain location at a much more affordable price. Also, for some people, it's just easier to maintain, but you want to make sure you purchase the right condo. Here in Florida right now, we're going through a condo crisis. It's really driven by the Surfside bill, which is posing a mandate on those condos that are 3 stories and higher and of a certain age, 25 years old if they're closer to the coast, and 30 years old further removed from the coast. They must go through a milestone inspection and a reserve study. I'm not going to get into all details here, but if you're going to be interested in purchasing a condo, you're going to want to make sure that that condo has been well maintained and is financially stable. So what information must you ask for? You got to ask for the financials. You have to ask for the budget. And many condos, even if they don't fall within their Surfside bill, probably have a reserve study, and I would ask for that. The reserve study is essentially a long-term planning tool for the association where they're determining what needs to be updated when and ensuring that enough funding is in the reserve. What you don't want to buy is a condo that doesn't have enough money in the reserves, and then all of a sudden you're being hit with high assessment fees or high condo fees. And that also leads me to my next point. You don't want to purchase a condo that has extraordinary high condo fees and you're not getting anything for it. So what you're going to want to do is compare condos in the area you're interested in, the HOA fees, and the budget. Compare it. If you're interested in one condo and you know what, HOA fees are extremely high in comparison to the average for that location and you're not getting much more for it, then maybe that condo isn't for you. When you're shopping for a home, it could be so easy to fall in love with a house that has been completely remodeled. An open floor plan, brand new kitchen, brand new bathrooms, new roof, beautiful house. What you're going to want to check before you purchase the house is, was everything that needed to get permitted? First of all, if you have unpermitted work, it's a safety risk. If it's not permitted, then you don't know who did the work. Permitted work requires that it's done to code. That's the point here, is to ensure it was done safely. It could also be a resale challenge for you afterwards because a good real estate agent and a buyer that's cognizant of permits is going to check into it prior to buying the home. Also, it could be a huge financial risk for you. Let's just assume you move ahead with a home that wasn't permitted. You have homeowners insurance on it. All of a sudden, unfortunately, there's a fire in the house. Insurance company comes through there to do their inspection, and they realize that the fire was due to work that wasn't done to code. In that case, it is extremely likely that the insurance company will not pay out your claim. So it's a financial risk for you. So then what do you do as a home buyer? Ask the seller, ask the listing agent to see those permits. If there's any discrepancies, that's an issue, and you should have a conversation to determine how to fix that discrepancy before you purchase the home. If something just looks a little bit off there, walk away from the deal. Be so careful with fractional ownerships or timeshares. And this is what they do. They'll invite you to free dinner, there's no commitment necessary, and they'll speak off your ear about how this timeshare is just the most amazing deal.
And that is why owning a piece of an Aspen condo is not only possible, it's downright smart. Oh, here it is, as promised, a fabulous free lunch.
Typically happens when you're on vacation. It happened to me when I was in St. John. I actually ended up going to this free dinner just out of curiosity because I wanted to understand their sales pitch, and will sell you on all the great things that a timeshare has to offer you.
It is really cheap, and you get to use it for a week or 2 weeks out of a year.
It is really cheap in the beginning, and that time period that's allotted to you if you were to get this timeshare doesn't typically change. It's going to end up becoming a hassle because it has that limited flexibility. It will typically have ever increasing fees, so making it more expensive in the long run versus you just getting a hotel room. Once you get to the point where you don't even want to deal with the timeshare anymore, to resell it is horrible. People know that timeshares are not a good investment, and so they're not going to buy it. And most timeshare owners, what they end up doing is they're giving it away for free. You might be tempted to purchase a home or a condo near the water. Maybe it's the beach or perhaps a lake. And the risk of flooding is big, especially when you live in areas such as Florida. But even outside of Florida, flooding can happen pretty much anywhere. It's just remember what happened to Asheville.
Parts of North Carolina remain underwater after historic and catastrophic flooding occurred over the past 48 hours.
The risk factor increases if you're going to be closer to a shore or perhaps a lake or a creek. So know what the flood zone designation is and what it means. Typically, a flood zone A will have higher risk of flooding. A flood zone X is lower risk, but flooding really can happen anywhere. But you're going to want to know the risk factor and then ask the question, has it flooded there before? If it's flooded there before, what are the possibilities of flooding there again? And can you get insurance? And so not only are you going to want to get homeowners insurance, but you're also going to want to get flood insurance. And in some areas, if flood insurance is available, it could be very expensive. So find out how much flood insurance is actually going to cost you, because it may be outside of your budget. An area where flooding is very great with high flood insurance expenses may not be the home for you. A lot of townhouse communities and condo communities have a shared driveway, and that may not seem like a big deal. Hey, I'm just going to share my driveway with my neighbor, who is great. And so you're touring a home, perhaps you're getting to know your potential neighbor, Paul, nice guy, and so you're ready to purchase this townhouse with a shared driveway. What you're going to want to make sure is that there is an easement and agreement that stipulates the regulation around how the driveway is going to be utilized, because what seems kind of like not a big deal could end up being a big deal if your neighbor isn't all that nice after all. Perhaps that neighbor keeps leaving his car out there and blocking your way into your garage. Perhaps there's a crack that forms in, say, a month after you move in. Who's going to pay to fix it? Maybe your neighbor is like, nope, I'm not going to fix it. So make sure that there's an easement and agreement that stipulates how the driveway is going to be utilized. Who's going to be paying for repair work? So how is that going to be handled? The information is in the agreement if there's one. If there is no agreement, then perhaps it's an opportunity for you to look at another home that either doesn't have a shared driveway or has a shared driveway with a solid agreement in place. A shared driveway, by the way, could lower the resale value of the property if it's in a community or a neighborhood where all other home options have their own driveway. So just be cognizant of that. Historic homes can be beautiful, and you walk through them, it can bring you back in time. And for some people, that's worth quite a lot. And so you may be tempted to purchasing a home that's been deemed a historic home. But what you need to know is that in most cases, historic homes can't just be updated based on what you want to do. There are some clear restrictions placed on renovations. And typically, if you want to renovate the home, you have to make sure that the original appearance and character is maintained. And so if you're looking to, say, update the roof, or the windows, or perhaps the floor plan, in most cases, you would have to go through the Historic Preservation Board or maybe a local government who looks at the plans and may or may not approve the renovations. But if they do, it is really likely that the cost to renovate a historic home is going to be more costly than just your average home, because for one, you're dealing with materials that are not produced en masse. Not to mention that the contractor that's going to be doing the renovation has to be very skilled at what they're doing, because they're about to update and renovate a home that's historic, and with that comes more details in the workmanship required in making the restoration. Thank you so much for watching today. Subscribe to this channel, like this video, and I wish you guys the best of luck with your home purchase. Take care.